It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? The Geno Jones Show. I'm coming to you live right now. If you're watching me right at this second, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I do it live like this Monday through Friday. It's 5:30 in Chicago, 5:30 in Memphis, Tennessee, or down in Houston, Texas, maybe New Orleans as they call it. 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast, out in Los Angeles, up in Portland, Oregon, where my firstborn, who's got a birthday in 13 days. Yep, Boogie's got a birthday in 13 days. Wow, that time flies, doesn't it? Or maybe out in the Bay Area. Well, Steph Curry said, "Not in my neighborhood." Wow. Steph, my brother, we're going to talk about that. Just goes to show you, like I said, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And Steph is always about the culture. So when I saw this story, I was like, man, Steph? I mean, I get it, but we'll talk about it in a second. All right. So first of all, Cook County, Illinois prosecutors. So the Cook County prosecutor, district attorney, a woman named Kim Fox, a sister, her office. Cook County is the county that Chicago, Illinois is in. They have dismissed all charges against R. Kelly. He was charged 4 years ago by the Cook County prosecutors for sexual abuse and assault. Now, you know, yes, R. Kelly's already been convicted. As a matter of fact, he's in jail right now, serving a 30-year sentence for they call racketeering. That was a New York trial. He is about to be sentenced in February, like next month, which is tomorrow, in Chicago. It's going to be a sentence in February for child pornography and sexual misconduct from behind the legendary, I even hate saying this, but the P tape, the urination tape and all that. Yeah, I know. I'm not even doing any jokes about that. I'm just not, because it wasn't funny. I mean, whatever you into, that's your business. But you don't need to be into it with a minor, a child. There's plenty of grown folks. This nasty they're down with it. So a 14, 13-year-old, so his ass got convicted. So karma's real. So anyway, the Cook County prosecutor basically said, now, a couple things. If we try R. Kelly and convict him, he's already, for the most part, going to spend the rest of his life in jail. He's already doing 30 years from the New York trial. He's about to be sentenced for child pornography and for sexual misconduct. That's probably going to be another 25 to 30. That's 50 years plus right there. He's already in his 50s. He probably going to spend the rest of his life in jail. So whatever conviction we get, he's already doing federal time twice. So do we want to spend all that taxpayer money, the time, energy, and do we want to re-traumatize his victims? Even though it was one victim that said, who was part of this trial, that where basically they dropped all charges. One of the victims, there was going to be one of the four main women that basically brought on these charges, or that the Cook County District Attorney prosecutors were using as the basis to charge R. Kelly for sexual abuse and assault. She's not happy. She said she felt let down. She said she thought that the Cook County District Attorney, the Cook County State's Attorney, that they were going to fight for her, that she had a legitimate case, and she felt that no one is fighting for her and what happened to her. And I can get that. It's just a difficult, messed up situation all around the board. So those particular charges those charges dismissed because they would have had to go to trial. And it's just, I think people are just like trialed out. It's like, look, he in jail. He probably won't ever get out. So step, not in the name of love, but just step on. Some folks will say a bad pun on one of his hits. Step in the name of love. Stepping in the name of anything but love. That could be the remix. Stepping in the name of anything but love. Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it? Not a damn thing. So let's talk about Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. But this is not about basketball. So Steph and his family, Steph, Aisha, his wife, and their 3 children, so they're living in a $31 million home somewhere suburban in the Bay Area. I think it's it's called Allendale. Some very affluent area in San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. So there's going to be their plans. So this little suburb of town that Steph Curry is living in, their plans to build some low-income housing. So Steph Curry is like, hold on, partner, not in my neighborhood. Even though he said in an article, well, I know it sounds like a not in my neighborhood, but it really, that's what you're saying, Steph. And I got mad love. Look, I'm a huge Steph Curry fan. I'm a Lakers fan. I'm always going to rock with LeBron, but I like Steph. I love his game, and I like Steph. Steph is a good dude. For the most, he's a good dude, period. I can't say anything bad about Steph. But in this case, Steph. So this low-income housing development, the town wants to build it, or the city, the town, the little small suburb that Steph lives in, and it's near Steph Curry's home. So Steph Curry went on to say that he basically is trying to block it from being built, saying that the housing could pose a threat to the safety of him, his wife, and his 3 kids. Now, I got to ask, so Steph, if they were building some more $31 million homes around where you are, would you try to block that development? See, this is where I say all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. Even some of our biggest celebrities, some of our greatest athletes, some of our most popular, well-loved public figures, at the end of the day, all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. And I really hate, I don't know any other way to say it. Now, I'm sure there are people that are saying, hey, man, if I had a $31 million home, I wouldn't want some low-income housing built around me. Well, why? Why would you assume just because it's low income? And hell, it's anything compared to $31 million homes is low income. Hell, $1 million house could be considered low income if everybody else in the neighborhood's homes valued at $30 million or $31 million. So, and why assume that this low-income housing is going to pose a threat to the safety of you and your family? Hell, people building a $31 million home could pose a threat to you and your family, to your safety. Just think of some of that MAGA cult. If one of the MAGA cult members that don't like black folks, don't like nobody, like if Orange Hitler decided to move in next to you, you don't think his ass could pose a threat to you and your family? So be very careful. Just because somebody got money don't mean that they have class, don't mean that they don't have some type of criminal instincts or no morals. Money don't mean a damn thing. Come on. Your boy, Mr. Orange Hitler, all this, well, he really don't have the money he thinks he says he has. But I could name folks, just the whole crew at Fox Fake News, Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, all these multi-millionaires and you're Elon Musk. So what does that got to mean? It doesn't mean anything. Just because you got money don't mean you have morals, compassion, a sense of humanity, empathy, decency. You could be a violent criminal. You could have violent tendencies and be worth $10 billion. So don't get it twisted. So this whole thing about, because you know who pulled the same deal? And it was just here Friday. It was funny as hell. Him and Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. Isn't it amazing? When people, not all of us, but it just goes to show you how money can change people. But let me say this, because I said it before. Money doesn't change you. Money will only reveal who you really are, and it will give you more tools and resources and give you more of a, I don't give a damn. I can be my real self. And if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass because I got kiss my ass kind of money. And Steph Curry's got that kind of money. Dave Chappelle, they've got that kind of money. So they don't care. So all of a sudden, they may be Kinfolk, but their whole view, it's not like Kinfolk. They're like, because they've run in circles with folks with money, white folks, whoever it is. So they begin to, I don't want to say adopt that mentality. Like Dave Chappelle didn't come from a lot of money. Now Steph Curry, his dad played in the NBA. Del Curry, he wasn't making $100 million, but he was making good money. They were living like upper middle class. But really? Man, Steph, I'm disappointed, man. Full disclosure, I'd love to have you come on the show. I get it. I understand. I want my family safe too, but don't just assume because it's low income housing that the people who are going to be moving into this low income housing are going to pose a threat. Because I know a lot of people who are quote unquote low income. My mother's a senior on fixed income. Because of her health and her age, she was able to get a housing voucher. So you would want somebody like my mother. And you would be blessed to have somebody of the character, compassion, humanity, empathy, decency, and wisdom like my mother to be your neighbor. If she was to move into some low income housing in your neighborhood. So we as black people, and just people in general, this is what happens when we stop seeing the humanity in each other and get caught up, with status and ego and money. Okay? Money is just a tool, a resource. But money you cannot buy character, you cannot buy compassion, you cannot buy humanity. Either you have it or you don't. If you had compassion when you didn't have money, you'll have more compassion with your money. If you were cheap, selfish, if you engaged in anti-blackness, if you hated yourself, broke, you're going to hate yourself even more with money. Well, I don't want to be around them. Them, really? Them is you. Them is your family. You are them. You just blessed. You got some money. But these folks that you moving around, you think that they love your black ass? If you lose your money, they're going to want you to move out and move into some low-income housing. Come on, man. All Kinfolk ain't Kinfolk. So, Steph, I'd love to have you come on the show and talk about it. I would. And if you don't agree with me, I'm sure some other folks, well, man, I work hard, and we worked hard, saved our money, and we spent, all this money, and we got our home is worth $800,000 or $2.5 million, our dream home. We don't want any low-income housing. Well, you could have some crazy-ass criminals, MAGA cult insurrectionists that's living right next door to you with another $1 million house. and plotting to kill you and your family. And you think, oh, they okay because they got money. Man, don't get this thing twisted, Steph. Now, mad love for you. Mad love for your game. And like I said, listen, from what happened with George Floyd, you've supported the women in the WNBA. So I'd really love to have a conversation with you, brother. So I'm calling it like I see it, but I'm sure there's some details I don't know about, so I'd love to have you on the show. But tell the truth, shame the devil. That's what my grandmother taught me. But you got a right to be selfish. You got a right to feel the way you want to feel. But, just be careful, okay? Because everybody live around you, really, they love what you can do on that basketball court, but everybody around you don't love you now. I'm just saying, don't get it twisted. Yeah, they cheer for you when you're on the court. But if you were single or got a divorce and wanted to marry one of their daughters, some of them folks in your neighborhood would be like, yeah, he got a lot of money, but, I ain't really crazy about having my daughter marrying one of those. Kind of like what Tony Romo almost said on national TV. He was calling the championship game, and he was like, and that no. So Tony Romo is one of the announcers that does like they call color analyst. He basically is the voice of the player. He can explain to the fans from a player's point of view what's happening and what they think. So something was going on. He got all excited and was like, and look at that, and those but it was like he was about to say those it was like and he caught it. You can see it on tape. Google it. Tony Romo almost uses the N-word describing some players in the AFC Championship game. Yeah, was it the AFC? Yeah, I think it was the AFC Championship game. So, but you can find it if I'm wrong. Yeah, because no, he didn't call the NFC game. I can't remember who called it. Oh, I think Greg Olsen was calling the NFC Championship game. So yeah, Tony Romo was calling the AFC because he's a big Joe Burrow fan. So you can find it. So let me close by this. From the all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Now this dude I'm about to mention, listen, Steph Curry is in no way like Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock is this guy. He was a sports broadcaster, and then he's always kind of been on some self-hatred, self-hatred, self-righteous. He always finds fault in black people, but he never finds fault in white nationalism, racism, anti-blackness. Virtually never. Maybe on a solar eclipse, he might call out some anti-blackness. But he is the epitome of anti-blackness in black skin. And he's made a lot of money. He says the things that many racist, anti-black white people want to say, but now after Orange Hitler, they will say it. But when it comes from a black person, it's different. See, we're not racist. Look at what Jason Whitlock said about you Negroes. So Jason Whitlock gets the Dumbass of the Day award from me today for saying that the 5 cops that killed Tyree Nichols, by the way, all 5 of them were black. Those 5 cops that killed Tyree Nichols, that literally beat him to death, and he died 3 days later. He was probably dead before that. They probably were just keeping him alive. That video, it looked, those black men, those 5 black murderers, former cops, all black, on video looked like what young black men, let me get it right, on that video, those killers look like what young black men look like when they're supervised by a black woman. So let me say that again. So Jason Whitlock is blaming black women and saying that when he saw the video of those 5 black police officers beating Tyree Nichols to death, that video said to him, that looks like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. Well, first of all, I was raised by a single black woman just watching the show right now, Jason, jackass. Now, so let me ask you, Jason, just wondering, so when you had this 21-year-old murderer named Dylan Roof, and I really don't even like to give his name, I don't even say his name because I didn't even want to dignify him as a human because he showed no humanity. So when that murderer, who's currently sitting in jail, when he went down to a church that's less than 10 miles from where I'm standing right now, Mother Emanuel AME Church, a very historical African-American church that was the church home at one time to Denmark Vesey. Google Denmark Vesey, slave revolt. You think of Nat Turner? If you don't know who Denmark Vesey is, Google him. So when Dylan Roof, or when that murderer drove down to Mother Emanuel AME Church, less than 10 miles from where I'm standing right now, on a Wednesday night Bible study, walked in that church, a total stranger, and the late pastor, he was a reverend and he was a state, I believe a state senator, representative. He worked in the state house. He was a politician here in the state of South Carolina. Reverend Clemente Pinckney was the pastor, and other members of the congregation. So when that murderer went to that church on that Wednesday night during Bible study, and he sat and he read scripture and he prayed with the pastor and those black parishioners, those black members of the church, then he pulled a gun in cold blood. He murdered 9 of them, including Reverend Clemente Pinckney. You want to blame his mama for that? I think his white mama was a single mom. So you want to blame, you gonna blame white women for that? You gonna blame single white women for this other killer, Peyton Gendron, I believe. Is it? Yeah, Gendron. Peyton, who is this dude? That's the murderer that drove like 2.5, 3 hours plus all the way up to Buffalo, New York on a Saturday afternoon where people are shopping, buying groceries, and drove to a supermarket, Tops supermarket, in an all-black section of Buffalo, New York, and killed 10 innocent black people. So you gonna blame single white women for that? All skin folk ain't kinfolk. The most unprotected person on the planet is a black woman. The most disrespected person, absolutely, the most disrespected person on the planet is a black woman. The most neglected person on the planet is a black woman. And unfortunately, at times, it comes from black men. Not all, not even most. Not even close to most of the time. But, you know, you've got your Jason Whitlocks that just hate him. He hates himself. And he wants to project whatever insecurity, sitting up on TV looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy with a suntan. Oh yeah, I'm coming for him. Oh, you shouldn't call him names. I could call him a lot worse. Because he's earned it. Because the things that he's said about black people for decades, the things he's said about black women. So somehow single black women are the reason why those 5 black cops who are murderers, the reason that they were acting like worse than animals. Even animals have a sense of decency. Animals kill out of hunger or protection. This kid wasn't posing anybody any harm. And I don't want to hear, and I don't give a damn if he had an affair with one of them's wife or girlfriend or whatever. Nothing justified that. So if you got a problem with him sleeping with your woman, that's not a him problem. That's a you and your woman problem. So maybe you need to have a conversation with your woman. Or maybe you need to find another woman. Ever think about that? Maybe you thought she was your woman, but obviously, if that's the case, she had other ideas. Be careful. My grandfather told me something when I was a little boy. I was young. I was really too young to know what he was saying. But he would say it on certain occasions, and as I got older, I understood what he meant. He would say, Jeannie, what's between your legs is yours, and what's between a woman's leg is hers. And you don't own her, and you don't do anything. Basically, he was saying, listen, you don't own a woman, you don't own her body. The only thing that you own is your own body. And you can't impose yourself on any woman. He would tell me that when I was a little, way before I hit puberty, way before I was thinking about having sex. So, whatever, if, you're hearing these stories, rumors, out of Memphis and other places, well, maybe Tyree Nichols supposedly was sleeping with one of the officers' wives, and they were trying to get back at him. Really? But if you were so tough, what you need 4 other people for? And then why do you use your badge? You're doing it on duty. You're the officer. You are officer of the state. You are a government employee. Your job is you are sworn to serve and protect and not terrorize and beat up and kill somebody who possibly, or even if he was sleeping with your wife. So you go and you and your other criminal-minded brothers in blue snatch this kid up. So it goes to show you how tough y'all were. It took 5 of you all to do that. If you such a Billy badass, say, no, man, this is between me and dude. I don't want y'all, and then don't do it. Take the badge off. Wait till you get off duty. Put the gun and the badge away. If you really that Billy badass. You got to have 4 people to help you beat this kid up, and all you all are way more than 200 pounds, and this kid is 150, 140, 50 pounds. Man, that's some punk-ish. That's some real B. That's just some B-A-N stuff. Black folks know what I mean when I say that's B-A-N. And I'm going to leave it there. Because if you don't know what a B-A-N is, then I'm not going to tell. And I can say it. I absolutely could say it, but I'm not. But they know. People know what I mean when I say a B. For a dude, if a man, you are B-A-N, okay. Happy birthday today, January 31st, Kerry Washington. If you are a fan of the TV show Scandal, Olivia Pope, she was the crisis manager, but it seems like half the time she was creating more crises than she was solving. I don't even watch TV like that, but I was watching it a little bit. Happy birthday, Kerry Washington. She is one of the great actresses of our time. But man, that Olivia Pope character is legendary. She's 46 today. Speaking of actors, this is an iconic brother. So if you are a fan, remember, if you're an old school movie fan, you remember a movie called Cooley High. So Cooley High was the name, it was a real high school that was on the north side of Chicago. Cooley High. The movie was Cooley High. It was shot in Chicago, and the brother that played Preach in the movie, Glenn Turnman. He was also Colonel Bradford Taylor on one of my favorite TV shows. This is one I did watch back in the late 80s and early 90s, A Different World. a show that really got a lot of young brothers and sisters, young black kids who were in high school and middle school, excited about going to college and excited about going to a historically black college and university. So Glenn Turman, he was also at one time married to Miss Riri, Miss Aretha Franklin. That's right, the Queen of Soul. Glenn Turman is 76 today. Happy heavenly birthday to Jackie Roosevelt Robinson. Yes, Jackie Robinson, the man that, as they say, that broke the color line in baseball. The man that integrated Major League Baseball in the modern era, 1947, April 15th. Now, there was a brother I think back in the 20s that actually played. He wasn't a great player. He passed as white. I've seen a documentary. You can find it. I can't think of his name. I think he played for Philadelphia. He looked white. He passed for white and played for a short period of time. I think they eventually kind of got wind of, but Jackie Robinson broke the color line. Not only did he integrate Major League Baseball, but he helped integrate the National Football League, the NBA, National Basketball Association. You could say the National Hockey League. Now, they had one brother way back in the day, Willie O'Ree. But for the most part, 1947, these major leagues, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NFL, they weren't trying to have no black folks in these leagues. It was just like America. It was segregated. So happy heavenly birthday. Jackie Robinson would have been 104 today. He was born on this day in 1919. See, shout out to everybody watching, my number one fan and my executive producer. Hello, Mother, how are you? Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything, just for being you. And thank you for all your posts and comments in the chat room. Feel free to join my mom if you got a question or comment. Steph Curry, holla at me. Because you pouring rain on the low-income housing. I'm just saying, bro. You know, there's some great people in low-income housing. There's some great people that have come out of low-income housing. And I'm sure you know some of them. They just needed a break or opportunity. So don't think just because the homes around your neighborhood, all the comps they're selling for tens of millions of dollars, don't mean you safe. Don't mean them folks inside those homes don't hate you and your family. Don't mean that they're not racist, that they don't hold strong anti-black feelings about you and your family. Dude, don't get it. Or they may just be Laker fans. No, Laker fans, see, we ain't on that. We not on that. Now, Celtic fans, yeah, that's another story. See, Boston, that's a whole, when it comes to the history, racism. Now, I know Chicago ain't much better, but Boston, woo! Just Google Bill Russell. And they was winning championships. And they hated Bill Russell, defecating in his bed. Oh, yeah, just read Bill Russell's autobiography. Bill Russell wrote books and talked about how racist, how they played for each other as a team, but the fans, as racist as they were, whoo, in the 60s. So don't get it twisted. So just because you win championships, they love you on the court, but they don't necessarily love for you to live in their neighborhood, or even though you married. But you know, if you were single, you tried to marry one of their daughters, so they may look a little, say, well, he worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So they may act like they were cool, but I'm sure behind your back, or maybe to your face, they'd be like, I don't like you. Nah. They would go, Tony Romo, look at that. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. And God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago. And if you're out there in the Bay Area and you want to move next to Steph Curry, but you don't have a lot of money, he don't want your ass around him, it's 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. You and everybody you know, like, love, don't want to move around you, strangers, aliens from outer space, subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. And go back and binge watch all my back episodes. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram. Kel be cutting up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones, the drip director, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You see how she lay me out? Actually, this is part of the Mario Uomo collection. Also, shout out to Bruce Gage. Also, official stylist and wardrobe consultant for the Geno Jones Show. He's got the Mario Uomo collection. This blazer is from the Mario Uomo line. So you can check Allie Jones out, the official stylist, wardrobe consultant. She's on Instagram, lx.ncl, underscores that little dash below, lx.ncl underscore. And Bruce Gage is on Instagram. Miglio di Mario Uomo, that's the line, that's the name of his clothing line, one of them, along with Flyball. Miglio, Miglio, DiMario, The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show, 6:30 Wednesday. I love you so much. Thank you for watching. In the meantime, please be blessed. Pray for peace. Thanks for watching. Now, go back and binge watch some back episodes. Go back and watch this episode again and send it to Steph Curry and send it to Jason Whitlock's BAN self. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.